Hello, it's TalkFPL, your helping hand for everything for the FPL 24-25 season. My name is Ishan. I hope this video finds you in a good place. Today's video is my team selection for Gameweek 11, involving some key decisions, such as players that you should keep or sell, whether that's through form, injuries, or everything in between, and some fixtures to get a hold of, including the best differential for this week. If you do enjoy, please do consider liking and subscribing. Without further ado, let the games begin. In goal this week, I have Matt Sells. The Sells supremacy continues as he got another clean sheet last week, hoping for the same again against Newcastle, where Forest only conceded 3 goals in the 5 home games this season. The best start of any team. Mykolenko. I think this is where I have to take a deep breath, as he's only got 1 return this season and it's been from my bench when he played Ipswich. Southampton, last game week. You think a goal, an assist maybe? A clean sheet? No, a blank for 2 points as they lose 1-0. Hopefully we'll get a clean sheet from him this time and I can celebrate. Gabriel next. His corner threat has been very minimised over the last few weeks since Bruno has been reintegrated into the side, as more of the threat has come to Bruno instead of being where it normally is. Maybe this is just temporary and they surprise us with a Gabriel goal next week, but if this does continue, I would be very swayed to get rid of him. And this would probably lead to me buying Gvardiol or maybe Van Dijk. Lewis next. I think the defence is just where it gets a bit full of drama. Lewis got benched last week after Pep used the words, "We cannot bench him. We want to bench him. I would love to bench him, to rest him, but we cannot." Following that, in their game, Lewis got benched. So, make of Pep what you will. I wouldn't really read into his press conferences too much. But when Lewis does start, the attacking potential is clearly there. There is definitely a high ceiling for points. There's not been a sustained flaw thus far this season, but I do respect very good things of him when he does play. The clean sheets haven't been there. City have only got 2 this season in the Premier League. One was against Southampton and the other against Chelsea. Palmer, we'll put more on him later in the video, but with his injury solution. But against Arsenal, if he does play, I would still be very swayed to keep him, and I think he's probably going to score a goal. Chelsea have looked decent in the last few games, bar the game against United, which was probably as good as Championship quality. Semenyo makes his place back in the side, overtaking Rodgers this week, who plays Liverpool. Semenyo's been absolutely great. He's playing Brentford at the Amex, which, along with Bruno and Wisa, has been filled with goals. Brentford won 5-3 and 4-3 in their last 2 games at their stadium. I've just said the Amex, I meant the GTEC, sorry. So I do expect some high scoring. I expect Semenyo to be on the end of it. I expect Bruno and Wisa to definitely combine to make a few. And I do expect a goal from a differential this week, Evan Nilsson. Haaland, again, we'll put more on him in later in the video, but he's going to get the armband this week. And that is thus far with the game against Brighton. Salah was the best captain last week when he played Brighton and Haaland played Bournemouth. Now, Salah plays a team harder than Bournemouth in Aston Villa and Haaland plays Brighton. I think Brighton defensively, I'm still not completely sure of. Lewis Dunk might miss the game. Even if he does play, I wouldn't be too confident in Brighton's ability defensively. So Haaland gets the armband. And last but not least, my favourite player of the season, Chris Wood. Willie Hall again. We know each week everyone's got their fingers crossed. Please, Wood, don't score another goal. Not me. And since game week 1, he's provided the goods. I expect more of the same. He got a hat-trick in this fixture last season, bear in mind, as we're nearing into that sort of festivity period. Run it back. That is my team this week. As to reiterate, I have my vice captain on Salah and my captain's armband on Haaland. If I was to look at a player besides those 2, it would be Brian Mbeumo. That is my team this week. Show me yours in the comments and let me know any dilemmas you may have. Now it's on to the new segment this week, the decision segment. This was recommended to me by a user on Twitter, so thank you. If you do want to recommend anything in future videos, either drop a link down below or head over to my Twitter. using the link in the description. This week, our keep or sell, we're going to talk about 2 players. The first of which being Erling Braut Haaland, the Norwegian robot. He has 53% anytime scorer odds this week, the highest out of any player, despite being, well, in the last few weeks, lackluster to say the least. Obviously, City have dealt with their fair few injuries. They've been on a losing streak of 3 games in a row against Bournemouth, Tottenham, and most recently Sporting Lisbon, in which he missed a penalty in. His last goal was against Southampton, and before that, it was in the Champions League. Looking at this, you'd be thinking, why would I want him? This is the big news. Kevin De Bruyne is back. He was an unused sub against Sporting Lisbon, which makes me think he starts against Brighton. Brighton have the youngest manager, the least mature manager in the Premier League, and I think Pep versus him, a very experienced manager, especially with the given differences in playing styles and what Pep saw against Sporting with City losing over 2v2, 3v3 duels, I think Pep will be on to every Man City player to do well. De Bruyne being back is such a huge plus. Grealish has been announced in the England squad, so it's likely that we'll see him back on the pitch, which is great for Haaland's points. He's guaranteed 90 minutes due to Man City selling Alvarez and not buying a replacement. That has led to some burnout recently, but I think he will be back. He's been a bit poor, he's been very poor, but he's going to come back at some point, and I think Brighton's the perfect place to do it when Brighton have had some defensive injuries and they've been a bit lackluster defensively. They've been very good this season, but there is definitely still definite weaknesses in their team. But Bruno has forced a lot of saves this year, so I do think that Haaland is definitely a keep. Our next decision is that of an injury matter. Cole Palmer of Chelsea. He plays against Arsenal in what is the last game week before an international break. He plays in the last game as well, so there's no indication we'll get Willie starting. The only indication we've got is that he hasn't trained at all this week. The game is the last game, so there is definitely a chance that he's in rehabilitation and he's getting prepared to start today and tomorrow's training sessions and Saturdays, the one before the match. It is an international break after as well, so you keep him worst case scenario, he misses probably a game, as Chelsea's fixture is immaculate from game week 12. If you don't have him and you maybe feel like taking a 1 week punt, I would look at De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes this season. We'll come on to Bruno later in this video. But yeah, I think in short, we won't see if he has any indication of starting before the deadline, which is at 1:30 on Saturday. And we won't see if there's any indication of him starting in the Conference League, as he's not in the selected squad. So if you don't have him, you don't buy him until next week. He is in the England squad, so that is obviously one thing for the people who do have him, like myself. I do think he starts, just an opinion from me. Let me know what you think you want to do with Palmer, and I'll respond to you in the comments. Now on to what is my favourite differential of the week. This week, Bruno Fernandes, back in his favoured number 10 role with Leicester this week. We saw United play Leicester in the EFL Cup not too long ago. Bruno Fernandes ended up with 2 goals in a Man United win of 5-2. Obviously, we have a new manager bounce of Ruud van Nistelrooy still continuing as they play Leicester. And then after the international break, Ipswich and Everton with Ruben Amorim, another new manager bounce. Nothing not to love. Him being in his number 10 role has greatly impacted him in the games we've seen thus far, getting 3 goals in 2 games against Leicester and Chelsea. Did get a penalty against Chelsea, maybe more to come of that. We know he's on penalties, he's on direct free kicks, he's on corners. So there's an abundance of routes and avenues to points for him. He is my favourite differential this week, but the honourable mentions are Ryan Aït-Nouri, Matheus Cunha, Jorgen Strand Larsen, Rasmus Højlund, and Evan Olsen. If you do enjoy these videos, do consider leaving a like and subscribe. Also, join my mini league. I'll leave the code in the description and I'll leave a link to it. Thank you for watching today's video, which is Game Week 11 of Essentials. I'm sorry for the lack of videos. I will try and put one on every other week, but in the event that I don't, do consider going to my Twitter. I post there every week some thoughts. I'll leave a link down below in the description. It's @_TalkFPL. I repeat, @_TalkFPL. This has been Game Week 11 of Essentials. I've been TalkFPL. your helping hand for all of FPL 24-25. Peace.